Darlington, South Carolina. In NASCAR's early years, the sports center of speed. Even today, one of the toughest tracks on the circuit, still retaining its original shape and banking. And it's time for practice and qualifying for the NASCAR Cup Series. At the Lady in Black, the track too tough to tame. You pick a nickname, and it probably applies. And welcome to Throwback Weekend. Where's the hair dye? I think that's all we need to make this complete. Well, for a couple of us anyway. Clint, let's start with you. What are you rocking today?
Yeah, man, Buddy Arrington, man. Throwback scheme, Throwback Weekend. Such an old school racetrack here in Darlington. I love coming here, seeing all these paint schemes all across the board in the garage. And then, Bobby, check this out.
Bobby Labonte, what's this?
I can't breathe. It's a little snug. This is my uniform from 1984 when my brother won the championship. Went to all the races. I was a crewman, and I was also working at the race shop. A lot of great guys worked there. So I brought it out of the archive. Still a little dirty, but hey,
perfect.
Throwback right here.
Has this shirt been washed since 1984?
No.
Okay, I'll stand over here.
Baby.
These were the first throwback uniforms. The Wood brothers developed these in the early 2000s to replicate what they wore in the 60s. Even got Hinchman, the folks who did the original uniforms, to do these, and signed by all the original Wood brothers. So very cool. Group A is on track. Let's get down track side to Jamie Little.
Thanks, Mike. Yep, I'm representing Cale Yarbrough, and one of the best paint schemes out there right behind us. Eric Jones, tell us about this and how much fun it is for you this weekend.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, I've been wanting to run a Petty Blue car since I came over here, and finally get to do it here at Darlington is pretty special. So excited to get it out there, get it on track, see what we can do, and be nothing cooler to be able to take a picture on the front stretch after this one. So feel good about it, excited to get going and see what we can do.
All right, it's a throwback to Richard Petty's 1959 Daytona 500 paint scheme.
Awesome, Jamie. I love what most of these teams have done here. Now, last year, Corey LaJoie had an Alan Kulwicki replica right down to the Xerox sponsorship for Kulwicki's first win, and they've outdone themselves because this is the paint scheme run by Marty Robbins in the weekly races at the Nashville Fairgrounds.
Winner. Best of show, best of class, the best looking car here. Awesome paint scheme. Look at that thing.
I love it. I once asked Marty about his cup cars when he drove for Cotton Owens, and they were painted like this, magenta and chartreuse. And I said, Marty, about that paint scheme. He said, look, he says, I'm not the best driver out there. So when these fast guys come flying up behind me, I want them to be sure they know it's me. And that's why the car has those bright
definitely
colors.
a good one. I mean, obviously, you know, he was thinking about it. I think he probably had the most fun, not the fastest driver out there. But from what I remember, I think he was definitely the most colorful one.
Loved racing and racing people, and had a lot of fun. William Byron with the Jeff Gordon Flames.
Man, I raced against that one quite a bit, lost to him a lot too, but yeah, that's a fun one to watch.
We all did, Bobby. Yeah. We all did. Tried to fight him once, Bobby.
Yeah, you lost.
Let's get down to business. Ross Chastain right off the bat, picking up where he's left off every single week, top of the sheet, fast hot rod. And Tyler Reddick, how about that 8-car? Yeah, right there at the top of the board.
I mean, obviously, Clint, I'm thinking that, you know, Tyler Reddick should be the one that he did some testing here, obviously, when we brought this car down, did some tire testing. So probably has a little bit of advantage to start with. And, you know, we all know he loves running up against the wall. Just hope he doesn't get too close.
You know, you said right up against the wall, took the words right out of my mouth. Immediately, all these cars are running really high. Obviously, the preferred line of 1 and 2 is always that way, but I see cars right up against the wall in 3 and 4, more so than you usually do here.
Yeah, and what I was thinking about is obviously everybody starts off with new tires here, and you know, and I know, Clint, that, you know, first couple of laps, you know, you got the good on the tire, right? So you can run up there where you want to run, but you know, and I know 15 laps into this, you're really not wanting to run up there. You're just going to be sliding up there. So, you know, that'll be the hard part, I think, this morning to figure out, you know, where's the balance going to be at, where it's going to go, and you only got a few minutes to do it in.
You know, it's hard to believe just, what was it, 2008 when this track was repaved. It looks old, wore out Darlington just like it did the first year I ever came here. Unbelievable how this place always just bakes the asphalt, punishes the asphalt down here in good old sunny South Carolina.
So the Trackhouse cars are running paint schemes from the exhibition race at Twin Ring Motegi in Japan. Dale Earnhardt and Dale Jr. 1959 Lee Petty paint scheme on the 42. That's an Oldsmobile. And that's the car in which Lee won the first Daytona 500. They ran those same car on pavement and on dirt back then.
Well, they do these cars too.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. You know it's a throwback if you're racing an Oldsmobile. Yeah. New Oldsmobiles are in early this year. That's a line out of Blues Brothers, huh?
Yeah,
sure
about
is.
that.
Now, how about, hey, listen to this. This just in from old Larry Mack. We were talking about this previewing this weekend, and I was wondering, Bobby, will these guys be able to shift? With this sequential gearbox, we've seen it time and time again at different racetracks this year. 3 and 4 being a lot tighter than it is in 1 and 2. Hearing that the Trackhouse boys are shifting in 3 and 4.
Yeah, well, hot off the press. I usually don't talk to very many people, but I did see Eric Almirola last night, and I did talk to him about it a little bit, and he said you will. I mean, he said you probably can shift. But, you know, the worry is going to be blowing the tires off, you know, off of turn 4 if that's the case, because, you know, there's no grip anyway. So, you know, we'll see how long it lasts or what might be the right roll for the corner.
Let's ride along with Suarez. 10 laps into our run right here. See if he does. This sounds like 1 and 2 just by his throttle and his speed. Yep, going down the back stretch.
Yep.
Just a lot of brake. And I think a downshift would actually help you. But I didn't hear him shift or didn't see him shift either. But you can hear, listen to the RPM, down to like 6,500 RPM. Now you got to crawl that thing out. Kind of like taking a boat out of getting it on plane, you know. That thing wants to be on the pipe and on plane, and a downshift may help do that. But you're right. It'll also wear the tires out.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, you know, Clint, you know, as we ride with Kevin Harvick here, I mean, you know, and I know 40 laps into this thing, you know how slow it gets in 3 and 4. And I mean, you're just like crawling. So that might be the time. You know, obviously, you know, Kevin right here going into 1 and 2 is, you know, I mean, I'll have to say this. When I watch the in-car cameras nowadays, they don't really hold a pretty wheel. They're just kind of hanging onto the wheel, right? So I don't know if I'd be wanting to take my hand off to go downshift at the same time.
You know, one thing I did like, what I heard right there, is quite a bit of throttle off time going through 1 and 2. Early in a, whoa, that's big time, Lou.
See?
Now, was that holding a pretty wheel, or was that you ain't going to let go of that one? I promise you that. I agree with you, Kevin Harvick. Aboard that mission. That was going to get us an adjustment. That's right. Watch this.
Keep driving it.
Yeah, keep driving it.
Couple things I saw, obviously the big wiggle, but did you see how low the left rear air pressure was, how that left rear was squirming around?
Yeah.
Caution is out. There's a car stopped on the apron in turn 1.
Kevin Harvick, I think he had maybe a left rear. I saw that left rear. I wonder if it was flat.
Yeah, that might have been that wiggle there for sure.
It looked pretty soft.
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to let you put a tire on it.
Yeah.
Be real easy with it.
Does have a flat.
As you can, Kevin. I don't know what
as high as the right front is. See the right front way up in the air, left rear's flat. He knew it. Good save. Big time save. You can see it right there finally go down all the way on the rim.
Larry McReynolds.
Yeah, so we were looking at Daniel Suarez in the 99, and he stopped shifting about 3 laps before we went to that in-car camera shot. But my biggest observation, he's run the most laps of anybody. He and Tyler Reddick, 13 laps, and Darlington is still Darlington. Roughly a second give up on the stopwatch in those 13 laps. I would say over the course of a long run, you're going to see 2.5 to 3 seconds of give up on the stopwatch.
Wow. Thanks, Larry. Here's 4 team audio.
I think that happened early with the way that it was loose into 3, so they just kind of have to go off what everybody else is saying.
So what he meant by that is, you know, teammates and stuff like that, allies, you're going to have to make an adjustment on this car off of what our teammates do. If with a flat tire, I can't give you a lot of intel.
Ross Chastain and Tyler Reddick and Kyle Busch fastest in Group A practice. Let's take a little flashback here at Darlington to the early 80s. Hey, there's that Billy Hagan team.
Yeah.
For driver Terry Labonte, and there he is.
Man, a little mustache
Why
going
didn't he
on.
throw that back?
I can't grow that. It'll be gray. That's what happened. That's
So
what
cool.
happened.
I can't believe it. There's no way, and that many years later, I'm going to be able to fit in. Well,
no,
I don't even have a crew uniform. They never let me work on anything. But I do have this cool vest, and there's no way Eddie, the camera guy, is getting it back. I've been known to lose things, Eddie.
Yeah, right.
It's Eddie O.
Yeah.
It's Marty McFly there.
Look at that.
And there's your car.
That's pretty cool.
That is.
That caught me off guard. I saw that on the old Twitter. Appreciate those guys for throwing it back. Man, what a fun year that was. A fun experience in my life working for Michael Waltrip Racing. Good group. And again, just had so many great memories in that paint scheme.
Tell me how that paint scheme came to be.
Yeah, Brad Elliott, a friend from Iowa, that did a lot of T-shirt designs, a lot of just fun things for me. Works for Chip, went to school with Chip Williams from Mount Airy, Iowa. Called him one day. I said, man, it'd be cool to have you do a paint scheme. He drew that up, and lo and behold, that's the one they chose. Brad Elliott, Iowa, Mount Airy, Iowa.
That's J.J. Yaley, who is currently 16th in this session.
Cars look loose, Barry. Or, excuse me, Bobby.
Yep. Yeah, they do. I mean, obviously, you know what's going to be tricky to me is I'm thinking, you know how it is when you go off in turn one, it slides up, and then it gets a little loose. And, you know, how do you catch it? You know, I mean, these cars are not, they don't look like you can catch them very well. So.
Well, they certainly haven't been able to this far, you know, especially on these fast racetracks like this. All that underbody aero that they get, it seems like if you break that plank whatsoever and get these things in yaw, you don't have the side force on the side of the car, the downforce on top of the car. Man, and when they go quick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's check with Jamie.
Well, Ross Chastain on top of the board right now. Ran the truck race last night. Had a great run going until the very end. He got caught up in some damage to the truck. But right now, says the car is pretty good overall. The front end needs to be in the track a little bit better. So they figured they'll just bring him in, make an adjustment here, and see if it can help the tightness. He feels equal tightness at both ends of the racetrack.
That's not necessarily a good thing. You know, obviously, you need things on point in a worn-out racetrack like this, because every time you go in, make those adjustments, another cycle on your tires. It just seemed like no matter what you did to the adjustment, freed the car up, whatever, to make that front end work better, every time you come in and get the cycle on the tires, it goes out tighter.
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard. I mean, you know, still racing a little bit nowadays. I mean, you got to find that right balance, and you know, you do have to watch. And I know these guys have all the simulation back at the shop, so when they get here, they're pretty well dialed in. But at the same time, you got to get the feel for it, and you don't know with the tire degradation. And we all know it's a lot worse. So when you do make those changes, the driver goes, I think it's a little bit better. I think it's a little bit better. But you know, as a crew chief and engineers go, it's like, well, you know, just imagine that it's going to be a little bit freer. You know, once you and then where's that point? Like we talked about, where's the braking point? Because you want it to be a little bit tight. If you get a little loose, and you're really going to be a lot slower.
We listened on William Byron and his team.
Shifting in 3 and 4 already. Brandon, balance feels decent, to be honest. Just a little snug, just past center, 3 and 4. The usual stuff. I've probably needed some on the table in 1 and 2. Back commitment to throttle, but I could get a little skaty into 3, but I'm not sure if that's real or not, but just feel that a little bit.
I would trust it.
Yeah.
I would trust it at a place like Darlington. I'm telling you, how many times you get that skaty feel and you're thinking, I can drive through that. Next thing you know, that car comes out from underneath of you and in the wall you are.
Yeah, I'd rather be a little bit snug at this point in time, I think.
It's definitely
Kyle
safe.
Busch is throwing back to the first ever M&M sponsored Cup car paint scheme.
That's throwback for sure. I mean, for him, I mean, obviously he's been doing this a long time, and that's you know, a great throwback for those guys. And you know, looking for a good run to continue some good runs that he's had, and you know, good qualifying run today, hopefully.
It was 1998. The driver was Ernie Irvan.
Definitely a throwback on that one. Did you ever race against Ernie?
No. Huge fan though.
Here is the tire that came off Kevin Harvick's car.
Lucky to get that one back without tearing some inner fenders out and doing some major damage to the car. Jamie?
And you can see it's so destroyed. They're not really sure what happened. They can't tell if he ran something over, but what it did do was hurt the rear diffuser. So now Kevin Harvick is driving back into the garage. They have to replace that diffuser, and he will miss qualifying.
That's a big one. And something that's just a product of getting those cars down. You mess that diffuser up, that's where all the downforce is. Larry, help me out here.
Well, they're going to have their work cut out for them not being able to qualify, but the good news is Goodyear did a tire test here a couple of months ago. The 3 drivers that did the test, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson, and that 4 car of Kevin Harvick, so they have a lot of data recently with Darlington in this next-gen car.
Here's another look at what happened to Kevin.
Yeah, we were sitting here watching this, and I will say I was like going, well, you know, he's not holding a pretty wheel. I'd bring that thing in. Now I have to apologize because we didn't know the left rear tire was down at the time. But that really, you know, I mean, he could have wiped out a car right there. Obviously, that was just
100%. In worst case scenario spot right there. Getting into the corner, loose, always loose into 3. Did a great job keeping the car underneath of him and out of that wall. I saw it was soft. I just didn't know if they were trying to run the air pressure that low or not, but definitely saw that it was soft. Great job, Kevin Harvick.
There's Christopher Bell. His paint scheme throws back to his 2017 Truck Series championship. Carried those same colors and striping on the sides.
Yeah, that's obviously. I think Christopher is looking for a little bit better speed right now. He's in 10th right now on the fast lap, but you know, he seems to be holding his own a little bit better on the most laps run. So he's trying to figure it out. But yeah, what another great paint scheme. That's what's so fun about coming down here, because it's like you remember some of these things, and some of these things obviously I forgot.
All right, now look right behind the number on the 42. Where it says Petty GMS. That's a specific logo. It was the logo of Airlift Shocks.
Oh, wow.
And they were a big, more than a contingency sponsor. They were on a lot of NASCAR cars in the 50s and early 60s. So hats off to Petty GMS for keeping that logo there intact to go along with the Lee Petty paint scheme and just putting their own name and initials in it. Jamie?
It's interesting when you're hearing these drivers give feedback. I was listening to the 99 of Daniel Suarez, and he said, I'm tight up the hill. That's not something that you hear all the time on an oval track. And for people watching at home, it's hard to tell how banked it is. So Clint and Bobby, what is that sensation like when you come to Darlington and you go literally up a hill and down?
You saw it right there, and it's all in turn 1. Going up that hill, you literally feel like when you lift, you go up the hill towards the wall. And if you go up there dead wheel locked left, you're in trouble, because there's just a slide with the front end of the wall. You need that car to turn right there going up the hill in 1, Bobby.
Yeah, not like Dover last weekend where you drop off. Here, right?
Exactly.
So yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, and obviously, you know, with qualifying on new tires, you go in that corner, you got a lot of grip. But as the tires wear every lap, it seemed like you got to start lifting a little bit earlier. You might want to cut that apron a little bit, get that car to turn. You might use that to slide up later, so you won't, because you'll be in a bad place if you're, like we talked about, if you're pushing right there. You'll never get off a turn 2 if you can make it through turn 1.
That's exactly right. If you're tight getting up the hill, right, getting into 1, there's 2 things a problem. You're going to be slow getting in. You got to keep backing the corner up to keep from knocking the wall and getting in. The other thing you're not going to do is get on the throttle. That car's not going to run or rotate, and that's a unique corner. You run through the corner on the throttle, and you can't do that until that thing rotates.
Yep.
Bubba Wallace's paint scheme is inspired by a late model that he ran in 2008.
That ain't a throwback. 2008.
Well, you know,
I was on a racetrack then. Surely that can't be a
to these kids it is.
Yeah. I guess that's you know, this I knew. Well, I didn't think it would ever happen because I didn't think they would pick my goofy self, but I knew there would be a date and time where you may have to see a throwback, and now I'm officially old. I do have some gray hairs on my sideburn right there. Match your color, Mike.
Thanks a lot.
You're catching up, Clint. You're catching up.
It's happening.
It's actually the absence of color, but okay.
I can't keep it.
You'll get there.
Oh, got to spin off of 4.
Got to spin off of 4.
Yeah.
Corey LaJoy.
Oh, no.
1 minute to go in this session.
Yeah.
That's not bad, though. He was all the way around in a 360.
Right rear.
Yeah.
Check the length.
So he just practicing. Just practice a little bit for Sunday. You know, seeing where the edge is going to be at and how much he can just scrape that wall.
See, he was already scraping just a little bit, but 360 around. You heard him ask about a toe link. I hate to say this, but if you're looking for a drinking word of the weekend, that toe link may be one. You're going to hear that word a lot this weekend with these drivers being up next to the wall. They cannot get into that wall too hard with the right rear and bend that toe link.
So that will end Group A practice with Chastain, Reddick, and Kyle Busch at the top of the chart. Here are the fastest laps of Group A practice, and it's all Chevys and 2 Toyotas top of the board. Fastest Ford, Harvick, in 8th. Now, one interested onlooker from that first practice, Brad Keselowski.
How much slower are they when they move back down, in your opinion? They're running their right sides right on the edge of the rubber through 3 and 4. They use that transition with that white dotted line on entry, and then right in the middle of the corner, they're probably about all 4s above it at that point. Curious how much of a time difference you think it is between running low and high over there? I mean, it was like 3-4 tenths.
That's a big difference, you know, and I think that was great intel. I mean, obviously, you know, Clint and I, we talked about it before where, you know, you want to go out there and you want to find the fastest way around. And this car, you know, this weekend, this challenge of this racetrack, you want to go out there and you know, I would imagine being the second group out is going to be a little advantage today because you get to hear a little bit. It shows like that every weekend, but you know, for here you want to go out there and you have some seams, you have some white lines, the dotted white lines going into 3. You want to know where to drift up to, and you know, I mean, I think there are some points where the tar or the seams on this track, you know, is probably a reference point.
And I also, it's a product of a track that is every year wearing out, losing grip. The percentage of that, I don't know, but I'm telling you, every year it seems like it loses a 10, 15, 20% grip loss. Then you bring this new car, this next-gen car. We've seen time and time again on these faster racetracks, these guys got their hands full. They're light on their feet. You take it to a track like Darlington, now all that's going to be amplified.
Yeah, I would say it's 100% loss of grip every time you come back here. That's what I was thinking. You know, not just 10%. I know that.
Well, another thing I heard there is another reason why T.J. Majors is one of the best spotters in the business, looking for trends when his car's not out there. So on our pylon, Denny Hamlin, Austin Cindric have gone to the top. The Group B drivers are in white. The Group A drivers are in yellow. And how about this paint scheme that harkens back to when Jimmy Means had a Napa-sponsored car in 1993.
That's pretty slick looking. I like that. It's going to be bright. It's going to show up really well.
Those colors always show up well.
Yeah.
That would have been the 52 for Jimmy Means.
Yeah.
Chase Briscoe is throwing back to Tony Stewart doing the Memorial Day double when he did the Indy 500 and the Coca-Cola 600, 2001.
Yeah. You know, I was his teammate at that point in time. I did not go to the 500, but I remember when he showed up for the 600, he was ready to go. So that was definitely a fun day to watch, being a part of his teammate.
And of all the drivers that have done the double, he's the only one to have finished both races on the same day.
How about this? Teammates maybe working together, working on some aero things. Not going to be tight, going to be loose behind you. I like that by Denny Hamlin, trying that out.
Yeah, that's one thing you don't really get to do a whole lot in a short practice session is kind of figure out, you know, any aero differences that you might have. So will this help him a little bit? It might.
All right, we're going to give Martin a pass on this one because his throwback is throwing back to last year's race-winning scheme here.
That
was a little short throw.
Maybe any superstition there, is it?
Nope. Jamie?
Well, Tyler Reddick was second fastest in his practice session. I know your teammate was excited you had to go out and clean the track off, but what was your feedback, your first impression there?
Yeah, just letting him know how treacherous turn 2 is. Certainly, compared to the F-State and Xfinity car, going across that bump, exiting turn 2 is not that bad. But in our car, if you get to bottoming out on the stops, going across turn 2, I can definitely see how one of the best fits with Kyle Larson wrecked twice with it because it's pretty sketchy. So just give him a forewarning on that. But really happy with how our 3C Chevrolet is driving. Made a quick adjustment when Harvick got the caution out. And our car's in a good place. Just got to make some small balance adjustments, and I think we're going to be right.
Thanks, Jamie. 15 minutes to go, and 3 of these Group B drivers already at the top of the chart. Cindric and Logano for Team Penske, and Denny Hamlin for Joe Gibbs. Joey Logano's paint scheme. Here it is. Throws back to his very first race car, which was a quarter midget that he raced in Meriden, Connecticut at Silver City Speedway.
Yeah, I saw that unveil the other day, and obviously I'm a quarter midget kid from when I was 5 years old. Was racing, and I saw his dad. They unveiled that at his shop there, and yeah, that's really cool. I mean, obviously Joey grew up racing quarter midgets, which is near dear to my heart because of how I did, and yeah, that's a really cool way to do it as well.
And I like what you've done. You built a quarter midget track in Salisbury, North Carolina, that the kids of the new generation can enjoy today.
Yeah, you want to buy it?
No.
Oh, okay.
I tell you what, it's been a difference in a lot of people, molding a lot of people's careers. It really has, and that's not a joke.
Yeah.
A lot of kids have.
That's a great little
created their craft at that racetrack that you built.
Yeah. I had Ryan Blaney. I had a lot of guys there racing, kids racing when they were younger.
Bill Elliott's paint scheme from 1996 on Kurt Busch's car. Looking very sharp. We came to your track when Scott was 3.
Yeah.
Somebody put him in a car. He went out there, drove around, hit the abutment at the end of the exit from the track to pit road.
Right.
And that we put him in Bandoleros after that. That was the end of quarter midgets. My wife saw those kids hanging out in the roll cage for leaning into the corners, and she said, "No, we're not doing this."
Man, I had leather jacket. I had a leather jacket when I raced. I had tire marks all over my back where they climb up on you. So, yeah.
Scott's birthday, huh?
Happy birthday, Scott.
Happy birthday, Scott.
23 today. He's a road racer, having fun doing that. And next Friday, he graduates from Northeastern University. We couldn't be happier.
Yeah, great. Yep. That's awesome.
Happy birthday, son. And it all started at your quarter midget track.
Yeah. Well, there you go. See another one. Success.
All right, here's what Martin Truex had to say.
Well, the car doesn't roll nearly as much speed through the middle, but he's able to make it up on exit on you. Still giving up a little bit too much speed on entry to 3 here as well. No, Drew. I know how to drive this place. Give me a minute.
Yeah.
I love it. Frustration already. You've never been frustrated at Darlington, have you?
From the first lap on, usually.
First lap. First trip through the tunnel.
Yeah.
I'm frustrated.
All right, Kyle Busch watching Group B here. He was 3rd fastest in Group A. Jamie.
And Kyle had a good practice session, but you see him talking to Trevor Bayne there. Trevor, of course, runs some part-time races in the Xfinity Series for Joe Gibbs. But while they're talking, Trevor Bayne is on standby for Kyle Busch, as Kyle and his wife Samantha expecting their second baby here any day. So in case he gets the call, Trevor will jump in and fill in for Kyle. So he's on standby for this race and then next week as well.
Thanks, Jamie. Ryan Blaney, they don't have a throwback listed, but it sure looks like a kind of an unintentional Rusty Wallace Penske paint scheme from back in the day with the black and the gold.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously looked like a little maybe a Miller thing at that point.
Maybe.
Yeah, sure.
He's starting to slip and slide around. I was watching his lap times early on. The first 5, 6, 7, 8 laps, he was the fastest car on the track. Now he's starting to trend upward, starting to lose some time. Maybe he wore those tires out, Bobby.
Hey, they're racing at Florence Speedway tonight. They got a full program, and Ryan Blaney will be there.
Chase Elliott
goes around.
Oh, heavy contact.
That's not going to be fixable.
Nope.
I think it was the left rear, right on entry.
Oh, boy.
That is what happens if you can't. The worst case scenario, you see that left rear tire down, spun around, much like we heard with Kevin Harvick. This is the other way that happens.
Well, let's take a look here.
Yeah. Looks like it's already down. Yeah, it's already starting to roll out of the.
That was the 15th lap of the run, Larry Mack. What do you make of this?
Yeah, I kind of question what Clint was talking about a while ago, you know, what these guys are doing with that left rear air pressure. Goodyear says do not go below 22 PSI, so you just kind of wonder what they're doing with it.
Yeah. Well, if indeed that's what it is, what they're doing is letting the air out of it. You need longevity speed here, and the only way you can do that is to make these tires last. They build pressure. As they start slipping and sliding around, they build pressure with heat and temperature, and you know, the lower you can start them, the better you'll be on a long run.
Yeah, and you know, this is the second one that we've seen so far, and it's not like, well, there's nothing on the racetrack. I mean, so it's definitely, you know, guys trying to, you know, get a little more grip. I mean, more grip, more grip. You put a little low air pressure in it, you get more grip out of it. There's a point where it does break, and we see that.
That's right. There's a line somewhere, and I think we just saw it.
Yeah.
So two of the sport's biggest stars, Kevin Harvick and Chase Elliott, getting behind here with flat left rears and resulting damage. Alan Gustafson's reaction to Chase Elliott's flat tire spin and crash into the wall that is going to either require heavy repairs or going to a backup car for tomorrow's Goodyear 400.
And there it is, rolling out of the box.
Yeah. Jamie?
Yeah, as you see that car, that is the only backup car for all four Hendrick teams. And I just talked to the team engineer for Chase Elliott, and he told me we weren't taking any major risks on our air pressure. We're the same as our teammates. So they're not sure exactly where it went wrong, but they're getting to work now.
So in past weeks, we've seen that that car either be harvested for parts or used as a complete backup if necessary. So,
and I don't want to, you know, we're speculating on the air pressure. I mean, it's not finger pointing or anything else. I can just tell you from my firsthand experience, that's when I've spun out before earlier on or lost the left rear tire. A lot of times that was the cause. But Larry, can you help me out here?
Yeah, and I want to expand on what you said a while ago, that teams will go down on the left side air pressures because the more you can open up the differential between the left sides and the right side, it helps that car to turn. And as I mentioned, Goodyear recommends do not go below 22 PSI. Now, I think that's a conservative number. There's probably teams down around 18 or 19 PSI. Now, Mike, you mentioned it was on his 15th lap. But what happens is you damage the tire in the early stages when the air pressure is way down. It just doesn't show up until well into a run, but you've damaged it early.
Yeah, it starts breaking the belts, if you will, within it, and it just, you know, the construction of the tire starts to fall apart. And finally, as that pressure builds up and the temperature builds up, it'll pull apart. And,
so you see representatives of William Byron and Alex Bowman's crew as well, helping to roll that car into position where they'll consult with NASCAR as to whether or not to go to a backup car. Chase Elliott, fourth fastest individual lap in this session for Group B, seventh fastest overall. But here comes the backup car. This has not been Hendrick Motorsports' best track. Jimmy Johnson scored their 200th win here in May of 2012. Since then, Hendrick has won 85 races on 26 different tracks. They've been runners-up here 4 times, but all their current drivers were teenagers at the time of the team's last win here. Jamie.
Chase Elliott and I were just saying the sport can be so cruel. Last time I saw him, big smile on his face in victory lane. Now you're back here at the medical center. What did you feel there when things started getting sideways?
Yeah, just the left rear going down there about 3/4 of the way down the back, and recognized it, but I couldn't get slowed down in time. So, yeah, I hate that. I mean, I don't know what you do. So hopefully that's not a trend that continues tomorrow. That's kind of a concerning thing. I saw the 4 had one, you know, in a similar manner, but you know, fortunately he was in a spot where keep going. So yeah, just hate that. Obviously puts you in a terrible spot. You know, missing qualifying, don't get a pit pick. Buries you on pit road, buries you on the track, kind of sets you up for a long day. So hopefully we get lucky with some type of decent pit pick and can climb our way out.
Thanks, Chase. We'll see you tomorrow.
Here's what happened to Chase. Turn 3.
Yeah, unfortunately, just, again, worst case scenario. Didn't go down on a straightaway or anything else. Getting into the corner, not much Chase could do there. But I'm telling you, every time pre-race, including last weekend, where he won, by the way, I have heard him, asking, hey, what you got for a car? Nah, when he's a little bit frustrated or down, boom, here comes a big win.
Yeah, for sure. And now, obviously,
you ain't going to keep a good team down to that bunch.
No, they haven't won here in a while, but it's not like they don't win. So
a little adversity always helps. That's a lot, but they'll be able to overcome it.
Yeah.
When he went spinning, I was telling you about Ryan Blaney going over to Florence Motor Speedway tonight. They got a full program of action. He and Austin Hill are going to be there along with all the regular weekly races. It's kind of like going to Talladega short track, except it's a little bit further drive.
So now, is it a late model?
Oh, they run a full program,
okay.
Late models and trucks and Allison Legacy cars. And
I raced there earlier this year, and there's no walls, which is really good because if you go off in 1 and 2 or 3 and 4, you're not going to hit anything. So that's a good thing.
Well, I tell you what, going off. How about this paint scheme on Kyle Larson, Tim Richmond's old dub at 0 Pontiac driven at Charlotte in '84 for All-Star Racing. That's going to be hard for me to keep an eye on him. That's pretty out of the ordinary for his paint schemes. Yeah. But something tells me, look at that, huh?
Yeah. That is pretty funny. That's awesome.
That's a Pontiac Le Mans. 2 Hendrick Honda sponsored cars there. That one for Tim Richmond.
That's a good looking car. I like that.
It looks a lot like when Jeff Bodine won Martinsville for Hendrick's first win.
I've heard he told me after he gave me a trouble about, you're old when you have a paint scheme out on this racetrack as a throwback weekend. I'm going to fire back at him. I heard that his 5-ball spent some time backwards at the test here, so maybe he got all his spins out of the way. I look for him to have a big weekend down here at Darlington.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that just goes to show you when I heard that this morning as well, that how tough this track is. I mean, how tough it is, and obviously the cars have come a long way, and week in and week out with a lot of laps, it gets better. But Darlington is not going to be friendly to a lot of people.
So Austin Cindric's car, inspired by the 2005 Rusty Wallace number 2 car. The original colors were muted yellow with red accents.
Looks much like the Menards car.
Yeah, it does. If you have a Menards car, it just can't look like anything else. That's pretty iconic even of itself.
Yes, it is. Hey, that's a throwback. He's been around a long time. John Menard, big time race fan. His son Paul raced with me and most of my career. That Menard's name holds true in a lot of forms of motorsports over the years.
So Clint, I'm watching down in 3 and 4, and these guys are really getting up higher now than I saw. Did I see a couple different lines? But we were talking about maybe they're turning off the wall, and but I was watching a couple of them. They seem like they're going a little bit higher. Do you think it's rubber on the racetrack getting there?
Tell you what I heard right there is a shift. That means Denny Hamlin was shifting in 3 and 4. Let's ride along. See if Denny maybe is shifting getting into 3 and 4. There we go. There it is. Reached over and downshifted into 4th.
We'll watch and see if he downshifts in 1. I don't think he will. I think
no. You're going to.
Is it
1? Again, it's so much bigger, wide sweeping corner. There is back into 5th. Rolls into the corner. Back to the throttle.
Sure.
See the difference in the RPM though, almost 7,500 to a 6,500, 1,000 RPM difference in the corners, and that's why I think you see them reaching over and grabbing that gear in 3 and 4 versus 1 and 2.
It'll be interesting to see how if everybody does it. I mean, if everybody's going to make that transition and think they have to shift, or will they just roll through that corner a little bit better, not shifting and not take a risk?
Well, that's kind of my thing with shifting, right?
Yep.
I've always told him, well, man, he's shifting, making a big deal out of this shift. I'm like, well, that's all fine and dandy as long as I'm the only one that can shift.
Yeah, right.
If that guy in front of me, is doing the same thing, it's kind of a moot point.
Yeah. Well, obviously, and Kurt Busch here did the same thing. So, is it going to be a manufacturer thing? Is it everybody? I mean, what will it be, a driver thing?
I honestly think as these tires wear out, those times go down. I think you don't have to look very much further than this right here. That RPM drops down to a certain range. If you don't shift, you're going to be left behind.
Yeah.
But we go to no other oval track where the disparity between the radius at one end versus the other is anywhere near as great as it is here. So Larry Mack tells me everybody's shifting right now.
Yeah. Well, there you go. If you don't shift, you're not going to be good. So.
Well, but again, going kind of back to my point, everybody's doing it. It's really kind of a moot point.
Yeah.
The biggest thing is the lines. You know, you see them starting to diamond the corners off. You heard about that diffuser that got torn off on the 4-car with a flat tire. Dipping down on that apron. You know, I don't think you're going to be able to dip down across the apron into 2 as much as you used to. It seems like even going back to Dover last weekend, any kind of bumps, any kind of transitional difference between the car and the corner really throws these cars around when they bottom out on the bump stops or those block stops underneath the car.
Yeah, obviously we were watching that, you know, with Ryan Blaney, and you know, again, he's got a handful. I mean, I don't think he's got a tire going down, but he really is fighting that. And but what, to your point again, you know, what you said, Clint, you know, the bottoming out and the diffuser and all that stuff, you got to be a little bit more careful than back in the day. You could run across that apron sometime and get underneath somebody. So, you know, I don't know. I mean, this is how many laps on these tires at this point in time, but Clint, this is you know, we're early in the morning. It's still kind of cool. So. Yeah, it's going to be tricky to see all this with what Ryan's doing.
Well, in Blaney's case, he just completed his 25th lap of this session. Looking at Keselowski, who has run 20 laps, and Bowman, who's run 21. Jamie?
Ross Chastain, a 2-time winner already this season, fastest in that first group. I know you guys were tight on both ends. You made some adjustments. Do you feel like you made any headway there?
It's so hard to tell, Jamie. It's Darlington, so every time you roll out, it's different. I'm of the mentality that shorter runs and get our adjustments in and make 2 shots at it, so we don't ever do long runs. But we did help the car roll better, but with older tires, it doesn't feel better. So we're kind of deciding that now of how much farther to go. We want our car to run as fast as the cool paint scheme is on it, Coca-Cola on both of our cars.
They both are awesome paint schemes.
Ryan Blaney's going to pull it in or at least breathe it right there. Here he is with Denny Hamlin, and boy, he had a handful.
Yeah. Yeah, that's that point where you go in there and you slide up and then you turn the wheel and it does this and the back end comes around, and obviously he had to give up on Denny and no racing him at that point.
But I also think Denny's, look, see, that car didn't get loose until Denny got straight in front of him. That concentrated wake behind that diffuser of this race car, I think that was the biggest contributing factor to that car getting so sideways underneath of him. Saw it several times last week.
Yeah.
You know?
Clear.
Yeah, obviously if your car is not good and you get in that wake, then it just expands so much.
But did you see how bad he had to abort? You know, once that thing got loose, you can't ride that thing out like you used to be able to. We've seen these guys have trouble with that, trying to stay with the throttle. Christopher Bell, like 3 weeks in a row, kept trying to think, and I got it, and spun out.
Yeah.
Chris Buescher honoring Matt Kenseth, newly voted in this week to the NASCAR Hall of Fame. This is the paint scheme that was on Kenseth's car in 2014.
Way cool. I talked to him on the way down. I talked to him on the way down here last night on the drive and congratulated him and all. And he said it must have been his you know, booth career when he finally got on the Fox broadcast. It's really tipped him over the top for his Hall of Fame career. So I think we had something to do with that, Mike.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. I must not have the right number. I texted him. He didn't text me back. I lost to that car a lot, too. I will say that.
Eric Almirola. Now, this is one of the coolest throwbacks, I think, of the whole race. His grandfather, Sam Rodriguez, was the Tampa Bay Auto Racing Association Sprint Car champion and is the 9th winningest driver, capturing 90 wins in a 10-year span, and that's his grandfather's paint scheme. And he brought his granddad to the shop and unveiled it in front of him. And how cool is that to be able to honor not only your family's racing history, but to have your grandfather there to see his paint scheme as it's going to run at Darlington. Awesome.
Yeah. You see that Blaney into the wall just a little bit, of a stripe there, the old Darlington stripe. But guys, I'm really looking forward to this race. I see these cars slipping and sliding around. These guys they have a handful on this racetrack. The grip level's down with these cars. I kind of thought it would be, and I cannot wait for this race to go down. and watch these guys do battle.
This could be the perfect throwback because you think about how they're going to handle. It's probably going to be a throwback to what it was 30 years ago.
It's as close as I think it's ever been from when I first met this racetrack. I've never been on such a wore-out racetrack, including dirt. I'm serious.
Yeah.
I've been to most dirt tracks that are dry slick that weren't as slick as this place.
Well, this track sits in the sun about 360 days a year. They grow cotton down here and peanuts and other crops. They patched a large section of turn 2 just a few years ago, and it is just as light gray today as anywhere else on this speedway.
Yeah.
This track wears in the sun.
Yeah. Yeah, the aggregate here is pretty rough, pretty hard. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, we were talking about, we got Brad Keselowski here that has spun out as the red flag came out. So we were talking about tire fall off on the stopwatch. We looked at Ryan Blaney's 18th lap to his 30th lap. It was 10 miles per hour slower dead in the middle of the corner at lap 30 versus lap 18.
You don't think tires and strategy are going to play into this at all, do you?
Yeah. Who's going to stay out?
I'd like to see this replay. May have been practicing pit road. I think he was. It definitely was. Could see that tomorrow night. But a great time to do it. Tires are gone, into practice. Let's get it all.
Sure.
Let's find that line, get it in a pit.
Qualifying coming up. Tomorrow on FS1, the throwback race right here in Darlington. Memory Lane has no speed limit in the Goodyear 400 at Darlington. Coverage begins tomorrow, 2 Eastern on FS1 and on the Fox Sports app. Look at those handsome boys. And here are the fastest in practice. Austin Cindric and Joey Logano. Team Penske Mustangs, both out of Group B. Jamie. Penske team talking it over there. Logano second quickest by only a 10th to teammate Austin Cindric. Now the third Penske driver not so fortunate, Jamie.
Yes, and Ryan Blaney was so loose out there. We were actually just looking at tires and talking about the tire fall off there, but I heard something about a backup and you're like, I'm bringing it in. I don't want to go to a backup. What do you expect here though for qualifying, one lap around in this new car?
Yeah, it'll be exciting. You have to commit, pretty hard, and especially the on throttle time through 1 and 2 is going to be really big for qualifying and just trying to get a fast lap. But this car's pretty fun here. It's a lot of similarities to the other car. You can slide this thing around here more than Dover. You kind of get twitchy loose at Dover and wreck, and here your surface is so worn out you can kind of slide it around. So hopefully we get this Advanced Auto Parts Ford Mustang tighten up a little bit so I don't have to be a lumberjack the whole race, sawing back and forth. But so far so good. Hopefully we can put down a good lap and start off good tomorrow.
I like the mental pictures there. Thank you.
So Jamie, whose outfit are you rocking for throwback today?
Got a little Cale Yarbrough here. Last night it was Matt Kenseth, of course, for the Hall of Fame, but Cale Yarbrough
Local boy.
seems to be pretty popular around here.
Heck yes.
Holly Farms car.
A lumberjack. I'm going to tell you right now, I'll pick on him a little bit. If I'm hiring a lumberjack and a little skinny guy like Ryan Blaney shows up, boy, we're gonna be behind in business. We're not going to make a bunch of money.
I'm going to have to object. I don't think he's as happy as he said he was. You can slide it around. It's a lot of fun. I don't think you want to do that.
You don't want to do that here. You need to be perfect.
There's a song
especially
there.
in practice or qualifying
His
right
teammates were perfect.
Landon Castle in the 77 this week, part of their driver rotation.
You heard Ryan Blaney say commit, and that commitment is such a overlooked word. I think that the level of commitment to make this fast lap on not only the driver but the tricky commitment with the crew chief, air pressures, adjustments. You got to get this car right down on the ground. How close you can get to a bump stop with the patch off of 2, a little bit of roughness over there. You cannot get that down on the bump stop. It'll come out from underneath your driver. Just so much commitment on all facets of this one lap in qualifying.
Yeah, and I think too is that obviously you don't get to go make a mock qualifying run probably, right? So you got to go out there and commit to it with tires that you haven't experienced since the first lap on practice. So a lot there. You can't overthink it because you're already qualifying. I used to overthink it all the time, but you can't. You just got to go.
But turn 2, again, I take it back to where they put that patch down. Right there, you see the patch. Those cars get upset. And if you have that car too low and down on that bump stop, that thing, it just sends a shock through the suspension system. It unloads the car. You can be wrecked in a hurry because of your commitment on the throttle. You don't have time to wait on it, see if you can get through that bump, see what happens. You're already wide open and fully committed.
Yeah, it's too late at that point in time. If you're going to have a problem, you're going to feel it before you think. And what I was thinking about was the commitment, what you're just talking about. I'm like, phew, I used to get all worked up when I get ready to go qualifying anywhere, and especially here.
J.J. Yaley, top of the board. Here comes Ty Dillon in that Lee Petty paint scheme for Petty GMS Motorsports.
I never really sat on a pole about anywhere, Bobby, and I think maybe one of my only poles was here, believe it or not. And I think I had my eyes closed the whole time, but it all came down to the commitment I made to myself and my team in turn 1. I sat down there and watched every single car go by and where they lifted on the throttle getting into 1. I was the last car to roll out, or one of the last cars to roll out. I knew where that fastest car lifted. I went a little bit past there. And lo and behold, because of that, I sat on a pole. I come in scared to death, out of breath. They said, you're on the pole. I'm like, if that's what it takes, I never want to be on another one.
You got that.
Harrison Burton is going to have work to do to beat Ty Dillon, 29.41. Good lap for Dillon. Burton running his father Jeff's 2000 Exide Ford.
Awesome paint scheme. Cool throwback. Being able to throw that back to your dad, Jeff Burton.
Yeah.
Had a lot of success in that paint scheme here at this racetrack.
Sure.
He finished 3rd in points that year, career high.
Didn't look bad. Entered at 3 looked okay.
Second, 29.48.
That's another thing too, I think, Clint, is that when I look at what Ty Dillon did, he picked up 0.4 of a second. That's another part of your commitment. It's like, okay, you want me to go out there and run half a second quicker now? Because you don't know where your car's at. You don't know how the feel is, and it's just, it's what you do for a living, but at the same time, it always kind of surprises you can do that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's no different than, all right, I got to get home 4 minutes faster than you did last night. Like that commitment all the way across the board and everything you do, all your inputs, your steering, your throttle, your brake, everything's different because of those air pressures. We know in race trim, we just saw it. Everybody's pushing the envelope, trying to run as low as they can for that longevity. Now you're going to pump these pressures up and go fast. Speaking of fast, there it is.
Tyler Reddick was quick in practice. He has the best lap of this session, 29.21. In his Richard Childress race.
He ran a 29.69 in practice. Talk about a pickup.
Yeah, sure. That's when we talk about that commitment.
Stacking pennies on the hood of Corey LaJoie's car. That's the name of his podcast.
Ooh, that was close.
And there's that commitment to the throttle. You see back to the throttle, wide open, car skating around. Had to burp it just a little bit up off the corner.
That great Marty Robbins looking paint scheme. Can't miss that on the racetrack.
He probably wanted to stay on that white line, on that hash mark down there. Got off a little bit, but back in the gas. I mean, and you try to get the fastest lap you can.
LaJoie, 4th quick. Bumps Landon Casso out of the 5 drivers that will advance to the final round. Michael McDowell for Front Row Motorsports.
See if he can hold it down all the way off of 2. Through the bump, wide open. Downshift.
Yeah, he took a little different line through there than previous. I mean, obviously he ran a little bit higher.
And he's rewarded with a 2nd place run, 29.34. That will bump J.J. Yaley. So we're going to move our tracker to the 5th position. Against the bubble car, which right now is Corey LaJoie. Cole Custer, tribute to his hero Jason Leffler. Leffler brought Haas CNC Racing their first NASCAR win at Nashville in the Xfinity Series in '04.
Remember racing against that paint scheme, seeing it on the racetrack. Oh, left turn, missing. Yeah. Fun guy.
Cole Custer's going to bump Corey LaJoie from the Fast Five. Coming up, Bubba Wallace, Daniel Suarez, Justin Haley, and the rest of the Group A drivers. We are halfway through Group A in qualifying. Group B to follow. Let's check with Jamie.
I just said to Joey Logano, things are looking on the up and up. Second overall on practice charts. What do you think? You have anything for the pole here, maybe?
Possibly. You don't know, right? I mean, you start air pressure so low for a race run like that, and you're going to pump them up here, and what's that going to do? It's really hard to say. So, you know, we'll just go out there and barrel it down into turn one and hope the old Shell Pencil Mustang turns good and able to carry momentum through 1 and 2. There's a lot of speed there, and make sure I run the right line in 3 and 4. So, yeah, it's a fun track. Qualifying here is just crazy. It's always been a very chaotic qualifying lap where you get out, you got the shakes. So I assume that's going to happen again.
I love that old
I'll check your heart rate afterwards, right, Clint?
Yeah, absolutely. I love his old font, Joey Logano. I think everybody's first hat had that same exact font. It's like the embroidery shop, you know.
I got one from on eBay the other day.
Yes. Oh, Edna down at the embroidery shop. That's all she'd give you. That's the only font her computer had.
So Bubba Wallace did not lift going through 1 and 2. Let's see how this pays off.
It's what we talked about. And look at the green. Look at the green.
Yeah.
Here it comes.
Third, 29.34. A 10th off of Tyler Reddick's best lap that leads the group. Well, telemetry doesn't lie, does it?
Well, I don't know. It sure had me intrigued. I thought that lap was going to be better than that. There it is. Hurt him just a little bit. Car looks loose. That shows you a great view of just how sketchy it is off the 2, going over those bumps, navigating through it. Then the lines. You hear the downshift. Working that seam, you see. Splitting the seam.
Looks really good.
I agree. Really well.
Yeah. All right. Daniel Suarez, 4th, 29.38. The telemetry on Bubba Wallace's car was inaccurate. Turns out the CAN bus cable was not connected. Get a computer geek to explain that for you. Justin Haley from Indiana on track.
Rolling up the hill, as we talked about, now back down the hill. And that back down the hill is so important to your speed down that straightaway.
You know, we were talking earlier, Clint, about, you know, when you do that, when you go down that back straightaway, you got to commit to turn 3. So do you run low or do you run high? You know, and you don't really do that in practice. So.
And it's interesting, as our conversation, low is a little bit different than it was. Those last 2 cars, Justin Haley and Suarez, both ran pretty much in the middle of 3 and 4. And for my whole career, that was kind of no man's land.
Yeah. So Haley is 8th. He will not bump in. Here's William Byron.
Right up against the wall.
Yeah.
Carrying a lot of speed and momentum off of 2. You can see him at the top of the board and the green at the bottom. Let's see how his commitment into 3 is.
We're in right now. So the score ends up.
Going right up to the top, carrying a lot of momentum. Back to the throttle. Got it.
That's going to bump Ty Dillon. Top of the chart for Byron. 29.12.
P1. That'll make it. Yep.
About 0.8 of a second quicker. That's pretty good.
Almost a second faster. I don't know how you prepare yourself to go a second faster on a racetrack.
So he's into round 2 because of the 5 drivers left. Kevin Harvick is not going to qualify. So there's 4 to go.
There ain't no way you make goes faster than that. That's what William Byron's thinking right now. You go faster than that, you've earned it. Take
That's
it.
right.
Now I got to go do it again.
Ricky Stenhouse.
Yeah. there's the difference right there. Off the throttle, a little bit off of turn 2.
Run in the middle of the racetrack.
Yeah. And this will lock Tyler Reddick into the final round.
I don't think he shifted either in 3 and 4. I didn't hear it downshift.
No. 8th for Stenhouse. But Wallace is going to be close.
Yeah, he is. You can see it in his eyes, too, watching that monitor.
3 to go. Starting with Christopher Bell.
There's a shift.
Yeah, coming up to speed.
Hammered the throttle back down. See if he can keep it down. He's in the green. All the way through. Really good off of 2. There's the downshift. Got loose.
Yeah. He's still pretty
Kept
quick.
the momentum, though, didn't he? This is going to be a great lap.
Yeah.
29.08.
Wow.
So does Byron, you said Byron's going to pay it. Byron's going to have to pay me, or you got it, right?
Yeah.
So that bumps Daniel Suarez with 2 drivers to go.
Wow.
Bell, Byron, and Reddick are locked into the final round. Here's Kyle Busch. Bubba Wallace on the hot seat. Diamonds turn 2 there.
You know, you can see the momentum he carried into the corner because he actually lifted a little bit on exit and it didn't hurt his speed. Carried a lot of momentum into the corner.
Yeah.
Hey, look at this.
Yeah, look at that.
Should be good here.
28.99 for Kyle Busch.
Should be good there, I'd say.
That will bump Bubba Wallace, and now it's down to Michael McDowell versus Ross Chastain for the last spot in Group A in the final round.
Yeah, obviously, you know, these guys are picking up, you know, downshifting into 3, coming to the green, getting all that speed they can off of turn 4, you know, trying to carry it. What we've seen in 3 and 4 is these guys, they get a little free, but yet they're carrying a lot of speed, which has been, you know, the last 2 of them especially.
Got work to do here, Ross Chastain. Better get something down here in 3 and 4. Heard him shift and right back to the throttle. Climbing back up the board. Found it. He did. Made up. Right there, very close.
4th for Chastain, 29.20. And that bumps Michael McDowell. Larry?
Yeah, Kyle Busch and Christopher Bell. In 3 and 4, Kyle Busch was 5 miles per hour faster. Dead in the middle of the corner of Christopher Bell. That obviously was a big difference.
Wow.
Momentum.
Yeah. So Kevin Harvick, BJ McLeod did not make a qualifying attempt. So moving on to the final round, Tyler Reddick, Ross Chastain, and William Byron in Chevrolets, plus the Toyotas of Christopher Bell and Kyle Busch. Group A qualifying is complete. Group B rolling into position for their runs. Let's meet the fastest man in Darlington, Jamie.
And Kyle Busch, what a run it was. We talked about how much faster you were than your teammate through the corner of 3 and 4. But anything you need different for round number 2?
Just, I think, to repeat that, and we'll be pretty close. You know, last week we tried to make some minor changes to kind of free it up and get it to where we thought we needed for our second round balance, and it went tighter, it went worse. So not sure really what to do with these cars, but still trying to figure that out. But overall, great speed with the M&M's Camry. Proud of that effort. We'll see if we can do it again.
Throwing it back to M&M's 1998 here.
I love what you heard Kyle Busch say right there last week. Same thing, man. They went out there. All they got to do is duplicate that lap. No problem. Easy peasy. Heads out there. Most of them were way too tight. Struggled to the balance on their car. Be very interesting to follow along to these guys that run second laps in that final round to see what the handling does and how far the fall off is. Very challenging to judge that speed difference, isn't it, Bobby?
Yeah, of all places, this is one of them. You know, I think of California is another one where the second lap is usually not going to be as good. And I mean, it's going to be a big balance change. They're obviously set up for the fastest lap. You're just going to have to, you know, adjust yourself again. What we talked about, how do you get through these corners? You might learn after turn 2 what to do in 3.
29:47 for Daniel Hemrick. Here's Cody Ware, and this throws back to a car of the same number. Hall of Famer Mike Stefanik won 2 Busch North Series championships for Mike and Harry Grieche in the Burnham Boilers 51 that looked just like this. And while he was doing that for Pete Beal and Charlie Bacon, he won the modified championship both those same years. So a double champion in 2 years of Mike Stefanik's career. Very nice throwback for Cody Ware.
Yeah. I saw a picture the other day of me and Mike sitting at a dinner banquet somewhere many years ago. Wow. That was pretty cool.
30:05 for Cody. Todd Gilliland for Front Row Motorsports. There's our ghost car, which is Daniel Hemrick.
Better get to chasing that ghost. Heard the downshift. Gillen looking for a solid weekend. Get him a lap in, learn laps on this racetrack. That's what it's all about. You see those yellow stripes on the back of his car as a rookie on a track like this. It's very challenging. Sure. Make sure you run all the laps. And if you do that, chances are you're going to have a good day.
That's right.
Austin Cindric throwing back to every Menards car ever. And there have been a lot of them. Fastest in practice.
Yes, he was. See that momentum starting to roll his way off of 2. Got into that throttle. Made that straightaway longer. How do you do that? Beat him to the throttle. Oh, gave up quite a bit getting into the corner, running to the outside a lot. But watch him beat him to the throttle. Here he comes back.
You can really tell the different driving styles, you know, with the ghost car. Obviously, you know, his, you know, picking up the throttle, making that straightaway longer, picked up a lot of speed. So
29:38 for Cindric. Kurt Busch.
That's always a good way to make, you know, speed on a long run, right? Back the corner up, pick up the throttle, make those straightaways as long as possible. But for qualifying in today's conversation, you're going to have to get into that corner a little bit harder, in my opinion. Can't leave anything on the table. Get in hard and be quick to the throttle too.
Yeah. Well, this is his first time here in a Cup car, so we'll give him that.
Hardest place there is to get around, no question. See, Kurt Busch got into the gas, and I think you'll see his momentum carry on.
Yeah.
But I agree with you, Bobby. That's nothing more than experience.
29:10. That would have been third fastest out of Group A.
Pretty big lap.
Yep, fastest here in Group B.
Great lap, Kurt Busch.
If you think about what the other guys did in the first group pickup, that's, you know, right where the top 2 or 3, you know, 3 or 4, I should say.
Brad Keselowski spun at the end of practice trying to get onto pit road. This is the Mark Martin 2004 number 6 Viagra paint scheme.
And you saw it on your left of your screen, him roll out of the throttle before he picked back up on it. And you saw that ghost car of Kurt Busch really pull away from him in the middle of the corner. It's just momentum. Hard to tell yourself. And again, it goes right back to, you said, the last time he was on the track, the thing was backwards on the racetrack. Now flip the page, put me new tires on, pump the pressures up, go cat go. That's a hard thing to adjust to.
Keselowski third fastest, bumps Cody Ware. Joey Logano for Team Penske. His teammate Austin Cindric second right now.
He'll show you what this track's got.
Yeah, this will be one that'll challenge for that top spot for sure.
You can see it. If they so much as breathe it getting into one, you see that red start to flicker. But man, when he got back to it, he went all the way to it. Can he commit getting in? A little bit slow getting in, but boy, when he got back to the throttle, that commitment was there. The car didn't come out from underneath of him, and I think he's dropping off in the sunset.
Yeah.
28.991 is the fastest lap of the entire day by 3 1/1000ths of a second.
That's Definitely very impressive. I mean, obviously last weekend, not a good weekend. So I know it's got to feel good for him to come down here and just, get that behind him, get some laps in, was fast in practice, and get a good qualifying lap in. So put last week behind you was a good thing.
And if you're Austin Dillon, next on the racetrack, crew chief just said, all right, he ran a 28.99. Go ahead and pick it up.
Yeah.
Oh, my.
So our ghost car will now be the bubble car.
Yeah.
Right now, that's Daniel Hemrick.
But I will say that information, knowing that last car out just ran in the 28-second bracket, that tells you that the track's got grip in it.
Yeah, it's got grip. Yeah, you might catch a cloud. You do know that. I mean, when you're your crew chief, somebody's telling you a spotter might be still on the spotter stand, saying things like that. They give you a little bit more confidence, and that sometimes that's what you need, the difference between a tenth or two to make it in the next round or to be on the front row.
In my opinion, you're looking at the favorite for this weekend, Denny Hamlin in this 11 car, but he needs to get qualified. He's going to race good. His smooth driving style is going to prevail in this long race. But can he start up front with these boys, not have to dig himself out of a hole? And it looks like the answer could be yes.
He's got to go to make it to the final round here. Looks like he may bump Brad Keselowski. Maybe.
See his entrance, man. He kind of diamond the corner off, and he sure paid the price.
Yeah.
It's just be barely.
Tire coming off.
6 1,000ths. Denny Hamlin bumps Brad Keselowski out of the fast spot.
Did he say he has a tire coming off?
Yeah.
Oh. Coming up, Eric Almirola, Chase Briscoe, Ryan Blaney, and the rest of Group B qualifiers. Something happened to Denny Hamlin at the end of that run. Now there's a comparison of Group A versus the drivers so far in Group B. Jamie.
Yeah, and Denny Hamlin said he just had a grinding sound and then lost power, so we're going to check in with him in just a minute. But first, Kurt Busch up there in the top 5 right now, throwing it back to 1996, the year we graduated. So how is she?
Wow, it feels like yesterday with 1996. No, it's Bill Elliott scheme from then, which was loud and crazy. We're all like, whoa. But now it's legit. It's cool. Like, what's old is new. She was a little on the tight side to start today, and I'm like, we will not be tight in qualifying. Free her up, Billy. So that was a really good lap for us. Now we just need to capitalize on this opportunity to try to sit on the pole.
All right, Kurt Busch, second right now.
Thanks, Jamie. Eric Almirola in his grandfather's sprint car scheme.
A lot of momentum shifting. You heard him shift off of 3 and 4. Yep. Carried a lot of speed to the green. And
he's going for obviously the bubble spot with Denny that just ran. I mean, he's in front of him right now, trying to get as much as he can.
Going right to the top in 3 and 4 too. Watch him. See, that's the difference in Denny. I think that's where he had his trouble with whatever that grinding was. He knew it. He felt it getting into 3 and moved down, where you saw Eric Almirola run to that outside and right in to hopefully the top, the final round here.
So Almirola bumps Denny Hamlin. And his teammate, Chase Briscoe, on the racetrack.
Never lifted.
Yeah, but the car looked tight.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know if he drug brake or something off the corner, because he definitely lost speed. And wow, look at that.
Yeah.
Found it in 3 and 4.
Sure.
He's right there. It's going to be close.
And Briscoe bumps in 4th fastest.
Man, the ticker showed close. The ghost car showed I believe the ghost car from now on.
Jamie?
Well, we talked about Denny Hamlin reported the grinding sound and kind of lost power. Your crew chief just now said, I think we're blowing up, but not sure. Any indication there just on that startup lap?
No, it was fine through 1 or 2, and then something started locking up halfway down the back. So I don't know. It's just so frustrating right now.
No driver in this field has had as much success at Darlington in the Cup and Xfinity Series as Denny Hamlin. Ryan Blaney, who had a big moment here in practice, he says you just have to commit. And Blaney does just that. He is second to his Penske teammate Joey Logano. That bumps Austin Dillon out of the Fast 5.
That was a good lap for him. I mean, obviously, we saw him fighting the wheel earlier. You know, they got it tightened up for qualifying. Picked up a lot of speed from where you practiced, for sure.
Yes. Eric Jones and Richard Petty's 43. A number in paint scheme that's had a lot of success here.
Kind of tested the waters. You heard him really get back to the gas. Is it there? Yes, I like it. Went back wide open. Carried some speed down the back straightaway. Can he get it rotated? I think he can. Oh, can he stay with it? You hear him burping the throttle. You're going to see the 14 start coming back.
And Jones did it. He is 4th. Briscoe is bumped.
Great lap. How tight is that? A 12, a 14, and a 15 right there. 4th, 5th, and 6th.
And that will lock Joey Logano into the Fast 5. Last week's pole sitter, first of his career, Chris Buescher, in the Matt Kenseth Hall of Fame paint scheme.
Couldn't quite get to the gas. A little slow to the throttle, getting the car rotated.
Might not be able to repeat from last weekend's pole run, but
pretty early downshift.
Yeah.
That helped him get it rotated and due to the throttle sooner. Yeah, but then had to lift again. Not what he was looking for.
Well, Buescher will be disappointed, but this will lock Ryan Blaney into the Fast 5. 3 cars to go because Chase Elliott will not make a qualifying attempt. Last year's winner Martin Truex.
yeah, he wasn't that good in practice. Didn't have a good speed anyway. Looking a lot better now.
Looking very good. This could be the fastest lap of the day right here.
Yeah, his fast lap wasn't good. He might have been good everywhere else, but his fast lap wasn't good earlier.
Look at the momentum.
Well, it is now.
Yeah.
Ran that outside line. I think that's everybody's going to be paying attention.
Yeah.
1 and 2 is pretty standardized, right? That is an extremely fast lap. 28.83. Great job, Martin Truex Jr.
Yeah, awesome.
But again, 1 and 2 is pretty standardized on how you drive that thing, how you navigate around there. There's some options down in 3 and 4, Bobby. Running on the bottom. We've seen a lot of cars running that middle, but it looks like that outside line, the momentum they're able to carry, it's where you need to be.
Yeah, definitely rolling up through there now. It looks like when we see the tracker, we can see it go through there.
What do you see this ghost car in a 5 pulling away from that guy?
Yeah,
a true exit, or excuse me, that's the ghost car of Eric Jones.
Yeah.
It's going to be another fast one.
Truex, Logano, and Blaney are locked in.
He beats the bubble by 3.
Kyle Larson.
Wow.
73. That bumps Eric Jones. And it's down to Alex Bowman versus Kurt Busch for the final spot in the final round. Nice Mark Martin Valvoline Southern 500 winning paint scheme for Bowman.
Just a little bit there.
Car looks a little tight.
Yeah.
Slow to rotate down the hill. See if he can make up the difference. Maybe running that outside line if he can momentum around it. Yeah. Early downshift. Had to slow up the car to keep from hitting the wall. I'm afraid it might not be there, Bobby.
No. Definitely did get through either corner very good, especially down there in 3 and 4. You know, just need a little bit to catch up on Kurt Busch. Not quite enough.
So 10th for Alex Bowman. Moving to the final round from Group B. Kurt Busch's Toyota, Ryan Blaney's Ford, Joey Logano's Mustang, Martin Truex's Toyota, and Kyle Larson's Camaro. Harold Brazington went to the Indy 500, came back home to Darlington, South Carolina, hopped on his bulldozer, and the rest is history. Darlington Raceway was the result. It opened in 1950. And here are the 10 drivers who will run for the Busch Light pole in the final round. Who do you like? Clint.
I like the fastest man alive, that 5 car, you know, 28.73. The hardest thing for Kyle Larson, any of these guys, is trying to judge what kind of speed is going to be in this race car the next time around. You got to cycle on your tires. They're wore out. We know this track's wore out. you know, Bobby, that's a hard thing to judge.
Yeah, it really is. And if I could pick, can I pick one?
Absolutely.
Martin Truex Jr. I mean, he didn't run that good in practice. Obviously, he's way down the chart as far as speed goes. They probably worked on their car, got a lot better. So he goes out there and runs a great lap. So to me, in my mind, and what you just said, I mean, I think, you know, obviously all these guys are going to have to adapt a lot between their first lap and second lap of qualifying. So what's the give up? What's the give up? Where's it going to be at? And so you pick 1 and 2 and say, I'm going to make that my best corner and just try to survive 3 and 4 and get back to the line.
All right, let's check with Jamie.
And Kyle Larson has this awesome paint scheme. Tim Richmond going back to the 80s, but right now fastest car out here. How much do you expect it to change from that first round to second? And by the way, we have full sun now, and you had full cloud cover last time.
Yeah, definitely. I think the cloud cover probably benefited the guys in the second group. It seemed like all of our lap times were quite a bit faster than that first group. So hopefully the clouds, you know, start covering the sun again, and maybe not for the first handful of cars, but at least for the guys that have hotter stuff now and can go out there and run a good lap. But I felt really good about my car there in practice. I ran behind the 11 for all of it and felt like I could pace them really well and felt like I was much better. So then we went to qualifying trim and felt really good there too. So I love this place. I've been close to a lot of wins here, and hopefully this weekend's the weekend and get this beautiful paint scheme in Victory Lane.
It is beautiful, no doubt. Well, second round of qualifying from Darlington Raceway is coming up after this. Who will be your pole sitter?
This week, all the NASCAR tracks went back to their original logos for their Twitter handles. Here are the 10 that will run for the pole, beginning with Tyler Reddick, who was 5th quickest in Group A.
You know, you just said something that really takes me back. Most of the logos back then, in my opinion, were neater because it was art. It was a hand-sketched art. Now it's all made up on computers and stuff like that with the aid of technology. I think all the old school logos were always way better. Yeah. It's usually somebody's name, right?
Yeah,
oh, you know, old Fred drew that up.
Yeah, not today.
He lived over there off that,
that
cotton field.
Over behind Raceway Grill there. Yeah.
Saw a lot of throttle on, throttle off. Having a little bit of trouble keeping the throttle down, see if it hurts his lap time. 29.19, man, I'm telling you, pretty much backs up what he ran at a 29.21. So maybe they can run those 28.70s.
So Ross Chastain was a 29.20 on his qualifying lap, 4th quickest in Group A.
Well, the faster you go, though, the more you're going to wear your tires out. So maybe he was saving it. You think?
The more grip your car's making.
Yeah.
I think the guys that we're saving are not in this final round.
Yeah.
Hey, the other thing we talked about is cloud covering. Don't you think for a second that doesn't make a massive difference? Full cloud cover right now for Ross Chastain. There's the shift. Car rotated well. Was able to get that back to the throttle. I think he's going to beat Tyler Reddick.
Yeah. 29.12. He picks up 8/100ths of a second from round 1.
And in my opinion, if you can pick up anything and you got it all that first lap, you've done an awesome job this second lap.
And that's again where we're, as the cars go, I mean, Tyler didn't know exactly what it's going to be like, but right now all the drivers are saying, hey, you know, crew chiefs are telling them they're really close. You got a 10th off here and there, so you know that you could drive it off in there a little deeper than you imagine.
And the other thing, they've all went back, looked at SMT, digested the data, tried to figure out where they were slower than that 5 of Larson.
Now, William Byron was 29.12 on the first lap. You see him against Chastain, who just ran a 29.12. And Byron might have brushed the wall there down in 1 and 2.
It was definitely close.
Yeah, might have. 29.16.
Yeah.
He is slower by 4/100ths. Oh, did.
Wow. You may want to go back and reprocess that thought. He definitely hit it. Hit it pretty good, as a matter of fact. That's hard enough. May have bit that rear toe link. You may possibly see that car go into the back of the field.
And they're out of backup car.
Yeah. Now, that's exactly what we were talking about, is the juice worth the squeeze in this lap. If you don't get it anything, the worst you're going to do is 10th, which is a pretty good starting spot on a race like this that plays out the way it does.
Christopher Bell was 29.08 in the first round. He's going to the top.
Sure is. Great lap.
Whoa, 28.95.
So, see, he was saving his tires.
That's a great lap.
That's a 13/100th
That's
pickup.
right. See there?
That's significant.
But again, takes you back to the data that these guys have. The cloud cover. You know, I think he was out in the sun when he ran his lap. There's the damage on that 24. I'm really curious to see if, hopefully it didn't bend that toe link that we talk about. We've seen that these guys are really struggling with.
Kyle Busch was 28.99 on his first lap, and he might have just brushed the wall.
Yeah, he was definitely close. I mean, we'll get another look at that. But
well, the other thing it shows me is look at the ghost car.
Yeah.
He lost some speed in the middle of 1 and 2. Whether he hit it or not, he definitely had to lift. Look, found some speed in 3 and 4 driving back to him, but the damage was done.
Second for Kyle Busch, 29.06. Let's see how close Kyle Busch was to that wall down in turn number 1. As Christopher Bell has the fastest lap of the first 5. This close. Woohoo! Welcome back to Darlington, where Christopher Bell, wearing a throwback to his Truck Series championship, his fastest so far. 5 drivers to go, and we'll know who wins the pole for tomorrow's Goodyear 400. This will be Kurt Busch in his 2311 Toyota.
pretty solid lap. Needs to pick up a little bit more.
Third fastest, 29.07 for Kurt, and that is 0.3 faster than he was in round 1.
Yeah, got 3 Toyotas in the top 3 so far, so looking good.
Excuse me, 3/100ths faster, not 3/10. That would be quite a pickup. Ryan Blaney and Joey Logano are going to be in the booth for today's Xfinity Series race on FS1.
Didn't seem to rotate very well for him in 1 and 2. Got some work to do down in 3 and 4, and that's such a hard thing. You know you didn't get through 1 and 2 very well. Don't try to go down there and make it all up in 3 and 4. Good way to get yourself in trouble.
But Blaney was 29.05, and he loses 5/100ths, 29.10.
But you know you want to make it up down there.
But you know, just think of how tight that is. I just heard you say lost 5/100ths. I mean, my gosh, that is such a minimal, time on this racetrack. Just the least little slip up, and it's a difference between maybe a pole run and the back part of this top 10.
Well, Joey Logano was 28.99. If he can back that up, he'll be second quickest.
That car rotated down the hill well for him. Yeah. Look at the momentum that he's running down the back straightaway. Got on the 3 pretty well, right to the wall. The car rotates. Can he keep the throttle down? If he can, this is going to be an awesome lap.
Top of the chart, 28.80.
28.80.
Yeah. That is a huge pickup.
That's going to be hard to beat. It's going to put the pressure on these boys.
He didn't keep the throttle down, but he kept it down long enough.
Yeah. Well, he got to it so soon. I knew when they picked the gas up that quick, now the whole conversation is, can he keep it down up off the corner?
He picked up 0.2 of a second. Huge.
Now that one may have left something on the table the first lap.
Proving me wrong. We thought they'd be slower by half a second.
All right, Martin Truex was 28.83 in the first round.
Really seems like a lot of cloud cover right here.
28.83 would be good for second right now. And Truex will be third with a 29.04.
29.04. That's such a fast lap.
Yeah.
And then there was one. Kyle Larson. who was fastest of all in round 1 at 28.73.
Couldn't put the throttle down.
Oh.
Looks tight. He slammed it down and looked like he had to bail back out of the front end. Took off on him. Boy, he drove it off in there.
Yeah.
Not going to work.
Pay the price.
Didn't rotate. How about you, Joey Logano, huh?
28.88 for Larson. That's it.
Yeah, baby. Hell yeah.
After a rough day in Dover, Joey Logano rebounds to win his 23rd career pole and his first since Michigan in June of 2019. Jamie?
That is a happy Joey Logano. After last week, what a comeback for you guys. How good did that lap feel?
Oh, it's so much needed for all of us here. Last couple of weeks were pretty rough, getting in a couple crashes and really just not being strong in Dover to come in here and recover. And Darlington was really nice with the Shell Pencil Mustang. And I can't thank Shell enough for letting me run this paint scheme because this is the coolest thing. And seeing it start on the front row is going to be so neat. Just because it's just a full circle for me, right? This is my first quarter midgets paint scheme. It's got all the same stuff on it since I was a kid, and to have it on the front row. My dad's driving one of the pace cars in my Mach 1 before the race, so just a really cool story for us this weekend.
Joey, I know you guys have been waiting patiently for a win. It's been a while. How important, what a big deal is it to start on the front row at this track?
Oh, it's huge. I mean, track position here is really big, but long run speed means so much. So we got to try to keep the long run speed in it, which just seemed like we were in the ballpark in practice. Hard to say, but hey, it's just nice to see the front right now and hopefully leave some laps off. And like I said, this is so cool that this car is up front.
It's not Joey Logano, it's Smoking Joe on the car here.
How about that? Joey's headed for the broadcast booth. He and Ryan Blaney doing the Xfinity race today. Chevy Ford front row, Logano and Larson, and then 4 Toyotas.
Yeah, William Byron back there in row 5. It's going to be interesting. I think he may have to go to the back if he has to change that rear toe link. He hit the wall pretty hard, but so honestly, I think that's exactly where he's headed.
Yeah, Austin Cindric back there in row 10, obviously a teammate on the front row, so maybe they can talk about some things tonight before the race tomorrow, and he can get a little bit better. First time here again, I think, in a Cup car, so still pretty strong.
This is where it gets interesting. Denny Hamlin, row 11, having trouble in his first lap, had to abort. Not happy with the scenario there. Brad Keselowski, row 12. And look at this.
Yeah.
We're back in row 17, bringing up the rear. Chase Elliott had that left rear tire, and Kevin Harvick, another left rear tire coming from the back.
They won't be there long, will they?
You'll see it all tomorrow on FS1 race day at 2 p.m. Eastern, and the Goodyear 400 will all be in our throwback best at 3:30 Eastern time to bring it all to you. Joey Logano, 8th different winner of a pole in 2022. Race day next. And then the Xfinity race. Bobby Labonte, thanks for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll have a different shirt tomorrow. Maybe it'll be clean.
We can only hope. Along with Richard Petty and Bill Elliott, part of our throwback cast. Congratulations, Joey Logano, winning the pole for the Goodyear 400.